From high atop the 19th floor of Mount Manitoba, NotInHallOfFame.com proudly presents another episode of How the Hell Did This Go Number One? And you could ask this of this particular band, and how the hell do they do this 6 times? Well, I think we're going to sort of explore this a little bit. But before I do that, let's introduce all the people in question. It's me. It's Kirk Buchner. I run NotInHallOfFame.com, the fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame, the fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Vote now. www.notinhalloffame.com/USA. And I'm going to do a little bit, I'm going to mix the order a little bit. I'm going to introduce my other co-host, Brad Nelson. How you doing?
Hi there.
Hey, Brad. Watch out. Here she comes. The other co-host, she might be
Nice person in general.
Smart. That's smart.
Dude, I have to see her on the semi-regular, like in person, where she could rip my flesh off because she's a man-eater.
Well, you know, like for the way you sort of did this intro, really, I can't go for that. No can do.
No.
But the non-man-eater in question is the first ever the second co-host I ever had of anything. It's the lovely, it's the talented, it's the worldwide famous Andrea Tessmann.
No, I didn't know who you were talking about there for a second. I thought we had a guest.
I didn't either. I thought we did a new co-host.
And Brad, you're the one who picked this. So
I'm the one who picked this.
So here's my first question. So Hall & Oates went number one 6 times.
They did.
This being the 5th one of them. Let me just bring up the ones that they did. So Rich Girl, 1977, Kiss on My List, 1980. Private Eyes, I Can't Go for That in 1981. This Song, and Out of Touch in 1984. So out of these ones, and I presume we're probably not going to touch Hall & Oates again. Why this song?
Oh, I'm going to touch them.
No,
why this song? Honestly, because out of all of their catalog, I liked this one the most.
Okay.
It was a little more catchy, and I found out some neat stuff about it while we were looking around at it.
Okay. For those who give a crap, my favorite song of theirs is Out of Touch, but this one is a close second.
I think my favorite is Rich Girl.
She's
but
a rich girl.
I really like the Lake Street Dive version of it.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a band, Lake Street Dive. They do a lot of like soul stuff, a lot of covers, but some marriage. Anyways, they do a really great cover of it.
Okay, so when I'll open up here with this. When I was younger, I did not like these two. I think it might have been the video format, frankly. There's just something about the way mostly John. I'll just be blunt. There's something there. I think Oates is uncharacteristically, I don't want to say despised because that's not true.
It's the porn stash, isn't it?
I think there's a lot of that. I think he's disproportionately disrespected.
Yeah, it's the porn stash.
I think that has a lot to do with it. His height doesn't help.
Short guys need love too. Trust me, man. I topped out at 5'9". After that, it was getting too high and a little scary up there.
But Oates is 5'4".
Yeah.
And his partner's considerably larger, better looking than he is, and does 90% of the singing.
Yeah, but more talented? I don't know. I mean,
I didn't say he's more talented. I mean, I thought that back then.
No, Oates has been on lots of stuff, though. That's the whole thing, you know.
But not of the main hits.
No, I mean, like as a session musician or fill-in or what have you. Like he's pretty prolific.
I think when I look back at this band, I think also too with Rich Girl, I think that blew my mind when I only realized this only a few years ago. That was first in 1977. I thought everything they did, or at least made it, was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly inspired by the Philly soul sound, and they are from Philly, which makes a lot of sense for that. They have been, and when he's making an appearance here.
Hello, Winnie.
Hey, Winnie. So they're clearly inspired by that, but it's softer, bleeding into pop and more adult contemporary, which is why they've been far more successful. Also, their pigmentation in that era didn't hurt either.
I was gonna say they got described by someone as blue-eyed soul,
They're
And
definitely blue-eyed
they,
soul. As a matter of fact, in this video,
I've been
Daryl
described as
Hall,
that too.
Daryl Hall looks a little bit like the Wish version of the Thin White Duke, of David Bowie's character, the Thin White Duke. The Wish version. Like if you ordered David Bowie, the Thin White Duke, on Wish, Daryl Hall would show up to your door.
Would he bring Oates?
Oh, I don't know. Do they go any place without each other?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
anyway,
Not
they
successful.
No,
they
not successfully.
they were, yeah, so
Bring it
Blue-Eyed
back in,
Soul.
Adrian.
So really they're playing typically Black music in an era where the people of higher pigmentation weren't getting a lot of radio play.
Mhm.
And they were really, I mean, this is like key 80s. I don't think this would get more 80ish than it is in terms of the sound and the look of it, but
Did you guys
it's
watch the
Okay,
video?
for that point. You know, because the people who they were inspired by, and I guess they're like the Black musicians were also inspired by the Philly soul scene. They were not getting a lot of MTV play back when this shit mattered.
Mm-hmm.
It mattered a lot. So Hall and Oates, so they first did in '77. This being their, I mean, their dominance in the early '80s. You don't think of them as a dominating band, maybe because
they were.
but they were. In
They
terms
put
of
out
They really
basically an album a year and were never off the top 100.
for a
Yeah.
long period of time.
No, they were very prolific, but in much the same way as Vanilla Ice Cream sells a lot.
Mhm.
You know, it's nothing. There's no edge to this. There's no how do I put it? This is not Rocky Road. This is you know, I don't want to say it's pop, but it's not. There's nothing that stands out about it. There's nothing that grabs your mind and just, you know, won't let go kind of thing.
But it is surviving though. I mean,
No, it survives absolutely, but I think it's because of the fact that it's inoffensive. It's you know, it's a good sound. Don't get me wrong. Like when you listen to it, you bop along. Oh, here she comes. You know, you're gonna be bopping along to it, but there's nothing to it. We're not talking. This isn't Fleetwood. This isn't Prince. This isn't you know, any of the legends of music history. This is just something that's really easily accessible.
you know who they remind me
It's
of?
formulaic, it's easily accessible,
Mhm.
and it's inoffensive. Well, that's not entirely true, but the music itself isn't offensive.
Yeah, it is. It's easily digestible.
But I think it's also easily transferable. And I was just going to say, there is a group, contemporaries of theirs, even though their sounds are totally different, they also breached multiple genres in the same sort of way that Hall and Oates could. Because Hall and Oates did, you can see them on the pop thing. You could actually see, you could see them. I don't know if they were played a lot on Black radio stations, but they could. If you didn't know, but and I'm sure in some places they were. Adult contemporary. They remind me of, although again the sound isn't similar, but let me finish the thought though. The Cars, they were new wave, they were pop, they could still be played on rock. So today, if you look at, you're going to see them in a new wave compilation, you're going to hear them on a classic rock compilation.
Mhm.
You know, they were able, and they both took, and maybe because I studied the Rock Hall a lot, they both were these bands that were passed or not thought of right away as first ballot Hall of Famers. But then you keep thinking about it and you think about it. Why do some of those songs still survive? And
Mhm.
with Hall and Oates, I mean, as I'm looking back through their whole catalog, I mean, here's just the songs that didn't go number one. Sarah Smile, She's Gone, You Make My Dreams Come True.
You
Say It
make
Isn't
my
So.
dreams come true.
Yeah,
Ooh, 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 ooh,
Method
ooh.
of Modern Love. Like that's a lot of that's a lot of hits.
No, they absolutely did. They absolutely did, and they were doing a good job, which is why it was a bit disappointing. Like you guys watched the video, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, I
Okay.
remember it from my youth too.
Yeah, but watching them like lip syncing and air guitaring, and then when I was actually watching it, I actually took in just how bland that sax solo was. And they had a great session sax player in for that. And he's even miming playing the sax on the video. And boy, you can tell it was terrible.
Well, part of that seems like it's off is because they're running that sax through a pretty severe delay. So it's almost looping itself in a way. So
But
part of
even
that offness is the actual sound that they're going.
even
better
when he's playing
than
it, like,
Journey Separate Ways, when they're not actually even using, they don't even actually have the.
oh yeah. But sitting here watching one of the backup musicians just strumming the guitar completely out of time with the music.
Okay, but they insisted, well, Hall & Oates, one of the producers insisted that they needed the Jaguar, the Black Panther there.
Yep.
They paid an exorbitant amount of money for about 1.5 seconds of usage.
Mm-hmm.
And then it apparently got loose and climbed up into the rafters.
Yeah, that's what Daryl Hall said. I just left then.
He said something else that was it Hall or Oates who said that? Oh, it's not really about a song. Or sorry,
It's not about a woman, it's about New York City.
Yes.
That's absolute bullshit. This is just key for the it's not so that I don't think this song's misogynistic, but it's a really common trope about that time of this like fear of women. Like I get the impression that he's actually impressed by this woman about, being scary and powerful, but at the same time there's a lot of borderline misogyny going on in a mostly male dominated field at that point.
They don't have to sort of like play this.
I don't know, man. Debbie Gibson was around.
Oh, that foolish beat. Why do I know that? Oh, Winnie? Okay. Why do I know that? Now, I want to go back to Oates itself. Oates was somebody who's been the punchline of, God, so many things. There's that one show, and I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on. But I assume that the whole punchline is, what is it, Garfunkel and Oates? Have either of you seen that show?
Of course.
Okay,
dude, you have to respect the loophole. And this party just took a turn for the douche.
Okay.
Oh, it's fantastic. I highly recommend watching Garfunkel and Oates.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, but they're not saying Simon and Hall.
No.
Right. Even in an old Simpsons bit, when Lisa was not doing too well, got upstaged in the sax, she envisioned herself as what was it? Messina, Garfunkel, Hall, and Lisa, or something like that. Even there was a bit on Family Guy where Lois is doing all the plaster casters of all the dicks, and she's doing one for Daryl Hall, and Oates says, "Are you ready for me, Lois?" And then, yeah, I'll be ready for you soon, Oates. I'm not gonna do Oates. How is he a punchline?
Well, because he was the little guy. It's easy to pick on the little guy. And he got upstaged by Daryl quite a bit, and his other brother Daryl. But yeah, he got upstaged by Daryl Hall quite a bit. Because Hall was the better looking guy. Hall was more charismatic. Was Oates a better musician? Hands down, 100% he was. But because of appearances, and it's the same thing with the Beatles or with any duo. Everybody's always asking, hey, is there any juicy gossip between these two or whatever? So they always want there to be friction or competition. Even with Simon and Garfunkel, going back to them, there was the jealousy going on there. Garfunkel was up in front and singing most of the songs, and Simon was in behind writing the majority of it. And later on in life, Simon went through and did his own thing and did really well, and Garfunkel just sort of poofed into the ether.
Yeah, I was reading how Garfunkel thought he was going to be a big movie star at one point too.
Yeah, he tried. He failed.
Yeah. I think also too, it didn't help I don't know if either of you have ever seen their Christmas video.
No.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this. Uh, the gay vibes that come from that video might exceed that from Jagger and Bowie in Dancing in the Streets.
Oh, dancing in the streets.
That's some serious
Right.
romance.
Again, not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not.
So
it wasn't stylishly good either. Makes it worse,
uh,
I suppose. It's just a bad video, right? When
That happens with Christmas specials. You know, when they try to do a Christmas song, it often ends up being
and
off.
don't talk about the Star Wars holiday special.
which you can actually watch an episode of on This Crap Was on National Television. On
We do not talk about it.
No, we don't talk about
No,
it.
no, no.
But it does exist.
It does not exist.
As I'm looking back, Oates gets a bad rap. One thing also too, I should mention that I didn't realize who was part of this. One of my least favorite people of all time, even though I have no realistic reason why.
Neil Young?
No, G.E. Smith.
Oh,
You know, who was the band
G.E.
leader.
Smith.
He was the band leader for Saturday Night Live for about 10 years. And there's just something about the way he sort of looked that just bothered me. It's like, you think you're so cool. I don't know what it is. It's a very irrational. I know that. It's sort of like when my mom used to say, and I've said this before, how she hated Bernadette Peters. I'd say, why? Well, just look at her. That was her response.
I usually have to have a reason to dislike somebody, not just based on their appearance.
Well, yeah. Well, G.E. Smith was there. He was one of the people when they were going, watch out.
Okay, so he was
yeah.
one of the backup singers.
Yeah, but he was with the band for a long, long time. So he was, very well established. I mean, like the talent that they had around them was very slick, very polished, and it did survive. I look back at my younger self, and I kind of wish I didn't dislike them, like I did, because they didn't feel cool to me.
I never disliked them. They were bland.
I don't find them as and I don't find them as bland as I used to, if that makes any sense.
So when you're walking through the grocery store and a Hall & Oates song comes on, you're like, yeah, this is my jam.
I haven't walked in a grocery store in a long, long time. But yes. No, I don't know.
One fun thing I found out about this track was that it was actually supposed to have a reggae sound to it when it first started off.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they would have done it the way that Stuart Copeland sort of arranged all that for the Police.
Maybe, or maybe it was going to be something along the lines of like Jimmy Buffett kind of sound or something like that.
I can almost hear it with a reggae beat. If I think about it, I can get it, but I don't think it would have worked as well. But that was the original demo that he recorded.
That's exactly it. Yeah, and they decided to can that idea.
Maybe,
which was a good idea.
Daryl Hall's girlfriend helped convince them to go in a different direction.
Edgar Winter as well. Edgar Winter helped out with that.
Yeah, when I think of reggae, I always think of Edgar Winter.
No, he helped out changing it from reggae.
I just wanted to throw that out. But
yeah, because he's a pretty reggae looking dude. Boy, I tell you what.
It's said by any one of the three of us, but anywho. So Maneater has survived. It probably will for a long time. It's going to always get continuous play, unlike some of the other songs that we've covered that were just as successful in its day that are non-existent. Hall & Oates, I think, will always be remembered. Oates will always be a punchline, wrongfully so.
And technically, it's Daryl Hall and John Oates.
That's true. That's also true.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be Hall & Oates. Everybody calls them Hall & Oates.
Doesn't matter. We'll forever be Hall & Oates.
Yeah, They didn't like that whole oneness kind of thing. They wanted to be known as separate artists.
One word, Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates.
It just flows off the tongue better, though, too.
Way better than Oates and Hall, too.
But what if it was John Oates and Daryl Hall? Yeah, that still doesn't work.
John Oates and Daryl Hall works better than Oates and Hall, but not as good as Hall and Oates.
Mhm.
It just doesn't.
Or as you're walking through the stalls in a barn, it's the Hall of Oats.
Mares eat oats and does eat oats and little
Little
lambs eat
lambs,
ivy.
ivy.
There's
Ivy,
also the
ivy
great
too.
tandem with the
Wouldn't
St.
you?
Louis Blues. Brett
It's a
Hull,
kittle eat ivy
Adam
too.
Oates. Remember that, Winnie? Oh no, you weren't alive.
But yeah, kind of an interesting little bit of story on that one there with the Hall and Oates thing, and then the changing it from a reggae sound, because
Yes, that was out.
yeah, it was a good move to do that. And technically they're considered pop rock, though I'm going to say they're even when they came out, they were kind of adult contemporary.
Mhm. Which is, I think, also why they sort of can flow between all that, which is a giant key to their success.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
really believe that.
And
What?
as Kirk, to your comment, if you didn't find them cool, I don't think they ever were cool.
No, I mean
It's
that's
something that your mom's gonna jam out to in the car. You're not gonna find it cool.
Hmm.
I think also too it maybe didn't help either. They were older when they finally hit it big. So like they were in their well, let's see. So they would have been in their early 30s when Sarah Smile came out. So when the end, so this year they would have been slightly over 35.
They were born in 46 and 48.
Okay, so they would have been my dad's age, or no, a little bit younger than my dad, slightly.
So yeah, late 30s. If
Yeah,
46 and 48, that late 30s in
In
82.
the 80s,
right.
yeah.
So a 12-year-old, 13-year-old me was not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Around this time, I was rushing home or rushing back to a buddy's place right after school to catch, because his parents had satellite. We could get MTV. We were going to catch Thriller. The video was gonna drop right after school.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, and boy, I remember sitting there and thinking that was the tits.
It was very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Was.
It was.
Way ahead of its time, still is. I guess, do we have any final thoughts on Paul and Avec Oates, as they are called?
I've just had Nelly Furtado in my head since starting to research
because
this.
she's got the Maneater song.
Maneater, da 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 da. I don't know the words to it.
Doesn't really
She
matter.
does say Maneater, though.
It's called Maneater too.
Well, oddly enough.
And with that, we turn it over to Miss Tessmann, who's I'm sure got something ready for us. What do you got for next?
We're gonna do Rod Stewart.
You think I'm sexy?
I already did. We already did that.
Correct. Did we already do that?
Yeah, we did that in the before times.
We did do that in the before times.
Oh,
Damn it.
no.
Oh no. Does someone else have something ready to go?
I don't have anything in the chamber.
Okay, I can throw something right now if you want to do this. I just saw this.
Yeah, if you got something.
Okay. Let's go to a few years after, and we're going to go to the fatherland.
Oh, Nena, 99 Luftballons?
Yes.
Ha ha!
99 Luftballon.
Yes. Actually, I'm going to do my impression of Nana right now, if you like.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Oh.
For those just listening, I just showed my armpit hair.
Irrelevant.
Well, Andrea will show hers next week. Or this week, apparently.
There's nothing there. But it's still irrelevant.
Okay.
Opal Shanghai.
It kind of is,
Opal.
it's kind of relevant in a way, and we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss German body hair and German beauty standards and a high peppy song about something that's not peppy at all.
No, that was actually a really cool story.
Actually, yes, it was. So there we go. Andrea has to do the next two now.
Uh-oh.
Wah, wah.
Here we go.
Busted it.
Find something awful.
But I've done some other things here in the Buchnerverse.
No, you haven't.
I have. I've done a lot.
No, nothing as important as this.
Well, no, I didn't say it was.
Well, what else have you done, Kirk?
Well, I've got a book that's out. You can get on Amazon. About the late great Chavo Guerrero Sr. And it's called Chavo Guerrero Instant Classic. Before he passed away, I helped
Who's
him.
it about?
Chavo Guerrero.
Chavo Guerrero, the late great
The late great Chavo Guerrero.
Chavo Guerrero. Okay.
Mhm.
And you know, it might be a little bit late to order it for an Easter present, but what's coming up next?
Father's Day.
Father's Day present.
A great Father's Day
Be a
present.
fantastic Father's Day present for the classic wrestling fan on your list.
Mhm.
Also,
Yeah,
Mother's Day is coming up. Don't write out those mothers. They might like
No.
wrestling too.
There's some mothers who like wrestling.
You know, too bad. This too bad. Hello Mudda, Hello Fada didn't go to number one.
Hello,
Hello,
Mudda. Hello,
Hello,
Fada.
Fada.
I hate that damn song.
Here I am at Camp Granada.
Camp is very entertaining. And they say that we'll go out if it stops raining.
What do you
Sorry,
think?
Brad.
The delay on this because we can't sing and we can't impress Kirk with our musical ability.
It's true.
Yeah, I've been working on some new impressions, but I'm gonna hold back on them.
Oh, thank you.
So, Kirk, I hear that there might be some other like Hall of Fame shows you do or something.
And
Stuff
why,
about
Andrea, in
halls and
fact, there
fame?
is. In fact, there is. There's the weekly Hall of Fame show with my good friend, your good friend, my good and everyone's good friend, Evan Nolan. Winnie sometimes shows up on that one too. So check that out. That drops weekly. Also, too, Vinny Lospinoso. You know Vinny.
Oh yeah,
Hey, I
Vinny.
know Vinny.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinny.
Yeah, he's the least Italian Vinny Lospinoso you could imagine, but he's still Italian nevertheless.
Like
Vinny was-
Ralph Macchio Italian?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yes, I like that. Yeah, so he shows up every now and then and makes the Hall of Fame case for some random people that you don't know, but you always learn something from it. He once made the Hall of Fame case for former President Theodore Roosevelt for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it's actually very interesting how he came to that conclusion and very accurate.
Sounds like a long walk to get there.
It's really not.
Huh.
It's really not. Actually, those shows are pretty quick. They're only about usually 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. That's out. There's a couple that have to come out that Chris Bourdain and I do, which is This Crap was on national television. Eventually, Small Wonder will be out. I've been talking about that one for a while, but we also recorded another one where we did Hit Me Baby One More Time, the British version.
I didn't know there was a British version.
Actually, it was the original version.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to watch something else you do.
Yeah. Weren't you already?
That was the reaction I was waiting for.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Moving right along. See, I should watch that one. This one, I don't expect anything from you, Andrea. The retro football show where we're going to look at Super Bowl III. I won't tell you who wins.
Good. Spoilers.
Surprise me.
But it is certainly it's a show that I do enjoy. And with that, I think that's pretty much all I've got going on in the Buchnerverse. There will be some other things coming on. It's been a bit hectic over the last 6 weeks, but for all those who've checked up on me, thanks much. I do appreciate that, including the two of you there. It is greatly appreciated. With that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, we all say, stay safe, everybody. Don't we, Winnie?
Don't be wavy. Yes, Winnie.
Yes. Winnie
Bye.
says,
Good night, guys.
all right. Take care, everyone.